Hello, my name is Jacob Goforth, and today we are going to discuss why budget. $5,910 is the average American debt for credit cards. That is 3 times as much as your average mortgage payment. Why is this, you may ask? A lot of people don't rely on writing things down and making a budget. That can really hurt you. Whenever you're just swipe, you're not going to know what's really happening because you'll forget about things. Because I know you're not going to immediately get down on your phone, check this off, and go on. Whenever you're using credit cards like that, you're usually doing impulsive buys and you figure out a month later, it's like, oh crap, and then you're like, I don't have money for that. I'm going to go spend something else. This is why budgets are so important. My main points today are tracking your expenses, setting financial goals, and making informed spending choices. This is just a little look at my wife and I's budget. We have our income, all of our expenses. I make a final calculation, and then I figure out how much goes into savings, how much goes into our Roths, and how much we get to spend. And those are mostly varied along with groceries and gas. Those are also varied depending on gas prices and how much we're going to be driving around that week. So, tracking expenses. Now that I showed you my budget, there is the envelope system, which is by Dave Ramsey. It's incredible. There are plenty of videos about it you can watch, you can read articles. It is incredible. The reason he uses this is because there is a difference between using a credit card and using cash. Whenever you're using a credit card or a debit card, we'll start with debit. Whenever you're using your debit card, you have your money in your account. That is your money. You're swiping the card, but most people are going to look at it and see, oh, I have $40 left. Whenever you see $40 in an account, it's like, oh, okay, and you're not that worried about it. Whenever you have $40 of cash, say you go to McDonald's and you use $20. You have $20 left. Say you go to McDonald's again, use $10. You got $10 left. Whenever you're seeing that money come out of your hand, you are seeing that it is disappearing. Whenever it's in an account, you just see numbers on a screen. Whenever you see it in your hand, it is a completely different thing. And you would see this definitely whenever you are using the envelope system. Whenever we use this, my wife and I, we don't use it for all of our expenses that we have on there, but we use it for our main ones. We have groceries, we have date, we have 2 separate savings funds that aren't our regular fund. It's our gift fund and our vacation fund. We pull $75 for gift and $100 for vacation, and we just put it in there every single paycheck. And sometimes it's not every single paycheck, sometimes it's once a month. It just depends on how much income we have coming in. Now, then we have date, groceries, we have my wife's spending money, we have my spending money. Like I said, you're not going to be held back from spending money, but you should be budgeting for it. You should have an allocation of a spot of where it should be at. And then we have beauty and clothes. And that just kind of like, if we don't use it this month, it builds up and builds up and builds up, like our vacation fund. That's a very good example. Say we have $500 in vacation, and then we add another 100 and another 100. It just builds and builds and builds, and then eventually we have enough money for an entire vacation, which is crazy, right? This will build discipline. Plenty and plenty of discipline in your life. You also see patterns, and those patterns will see if you're overspending or underspending. Now, whenever you're using cash, it's really hard to overspend, because if you have $5 left, you're not going to be able to spend $10. You're only going to be able to spend $5. And then you have tax that you have to worry about. In a debit card, you can always overspend in your account. It's going to cost you. You could overspend. Or you could use a credit card, because that's just a swell idea. Not really. I don't advise that. Use cash in the envelope system. It'll build discipline, you'll see your patterns, and it'll make your life a whole lot better. Now, setting financial goals. Now versus later. A great example of this is my Xbox that is right here. Instead of using a credit card, buying it now, having 0% interest for the first couple months and then paying it off later, I saved up. paycheck by paycheck, setting money aside until I got to that goal. The goal that I set was I wanted to buy an Xbox. It was between now or later and how much I wanted to spend, but I decided later because I don't have to worry about interest rates, having a higher price, and worrying about spending it later when I know I have the cash. And when I have the cash, I'm achieving the goal of having a new Xbox and controllers, and who knows, the money that I spent on interest, I could have spent on new games, new controllers, and it's just a whole different thing rather than spending money on a credit card. I think this is a pretty good example, building blocks up to success, making informed spending choices. We want to educate ourselves. Now, I have a few options to educate. Books are an incredible way. Most Americans don't read that many books. I can't remember the exact statistic off of my head, but it is insane. I think it's 4% of Americans read books, or at least finance books. The two people I recommend are Dave Ramsey and Robert Kiyosaki. Dave Ramsey I'd read first, Robert Kiyosaki I'd read second, but if you are dealing with debt, Dave Ramsey will kick it out of you. Total Money Makeover, great book for that. If you just want to learn about finance, Financial Peace by Dave Ramsey. Both of them are incredible. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, just overwhelmingly a great book. Opportunity cost, everything has a price, no matter what it is, whether it's your time, your money, but you are doing trade-offs between what it is. You are giving up something smaller for a benefit, or you might have to do back and forth. And then overall, having a budget, it just reduces stress. You don't have to worry about whenever you see a payment coming back up in the middle of the month. And I can't stress to you enough how much you will feel this. I think that if you wanted to, do this for 3 months. Do it for 3 months. Sounds like a long time. That's usually 6 paychecks, depending on where you work. But 3 months, you will see a difference in discipline and the patterns of how much money you're spending. And you will feel that cash just come out of your hand. And it is incredible. And I highly recommend it to you. Thank you guys for coming. It was great talking with you guys.